So previously we have seen that what is SCADA and how DNP3 works with SCADA. So now we will see how it is exactly implemented. So this protocol stack is for the DNP3 SCADA over IP protocol. So the master here also issues control commands and motors to set a motor or reset a circuit. So it has to go down the stack through the IP network and above to the outstation. The outstation is nothing but your RTUs, that is the remote terminal units. So you have 3 layers of DNP3 above your IP stack. So this is your application layer protocol here. So DNP3 is working like a application layer protocol. So the master stations may parse multiple DNP3 data link layer frames. So from single UDP datagram, and while DNP3's data link layer frames cannot span so many multiple UDP datagrams. So single or multiple connections to the master may get established while the TCP keep alive timer monitors the status of the connection. So if the response is not given to any keep alive message, the connection will be broken. So the keep alive messages are also implemented in the DNP data link layer status request. So this is how the stack looks. Next, tunneling the legacy SCADA over IP networks. So here in SCADA, your master station is nothing but your SCADA server, and your outstations are nothing but the RTUs, that is the remote terminal units. So you can have some scenarios here. See in the diagram you can see 3 different scenarios. So in scenario A, both the SCADA server and the RTU. So these 2 RTU servers shown here and the SCADA server. So both are connected with serial interfaces to their respective routers. So in this scenario A, you can see both the RTU and the SCADA server will send the serial messages to these routers, and this router here is responsible to convert the serial interface messages into its corresponding TCP IP ports, or it is embedding it into the ROS socket. So there is no capability in the server for ROS socket connection. So in scenario B, so in this scenario you will have a small software which is embedded into the SCADA server here. So that software is called your IP or serial redirector software. This will convert your serial connections into corresponding TCP IP ports. So the ROS socket master capability is there in the server by the help of this small software. And in case of scenario 3, your SCADA server is having the full IP support for ROS socket connection. So you don't have to use any software. Your SCADA server is a full IP or ROS socket connection. So you can see here. So the ports are not serial, it directly has support for IP. So these are 3 scenarios where the ROS socket connections are used. Next we will see how the translation happens. So now in protocol translation, you can see that in the gateway you have a conversion, that is you're not waiting for the DNP3 messages to be read by the SCADA server itself. If you make your gateway itself compatible to read or understand DNP3 service, then the response can be given much faster. So you're using a protocol translation, that is these gateways and routers are capable to read DNP3 as well as IP. They know to translate among these. So in this case, this is another alternate to our ROS socket connection. As you can see in the first scenario here, you don't have any changes to be done to the SCADA server, since your router was responsible for the mapping. And in the second case also, you don't have changes over the SCADA server, apart from the fact that you need an extra software embedded into it. And in the third case, your SCADA server is fully capable to understand and read. So this is only in the server side, but in this case, in the protocol translation, your gateway at the nearest to your RTU itself is capable to understand DNP3. So what happens here is, you can add computing functions in your gateways which is very close to your edge, and it will help in scaling your distributed intelligence. So this is about how the SCADA and the SCADA server and your RTUs can communicate with your DNP3 and IP. And next we will see in case where you are using low power lossy networks, that is, you will have an adaptation layer in between like a 6-LoWPAN. So over these networks, it is required that in every point you will need to access UDP, and to do this you will use a protocol called MAPD. Why this is needed is, you know that the previous protocols used in application layer will be following your IPv4. Even though now IPv6 is available, most of the devices may not follow it. So to make your IPv6 low power lossy networks, you will need to implement this MAPD for the conversions. So you can see here, this is your endpoint. Suppose this endpoint, which is using native IPv4 and DNP3 to communicate with the server, passes through all this to reach its SCADA server. Let's just imagine that this is a full IP SCADA server, that is, it is capable of understanding IP. Now both these will be having support for IPv4. Okay, so from endpoint till your SCADA server, you will be using DNP3, which will be running over your IPv4. So here in this network, if you put this MAPD, see these are borders. So what it does is, it will convert this IPv4 to an IPv6. So you can take the benefits and advantages of IPv6 from IPv4, and so this MAPD protocol will be running in between these two. And this IPv6 is a low power lossy network, which will in turn be using the 6-LoWPAN as the adaptation layer. So this is how you can convert and use your SCADA for any kind of network, whether it is lossy or lossless. So this is all about SCADA. So next we will see COAP and MQTT, which are IoT application layer protocols, in our next video. Thank you.